it's this active. And we have some ongoing warnings, so I'm going to make sure my stream is going, and we will jump right in. There we go. Now I see myself. Thunderstorms, some severe, are actually happening right now in our area. We have very heavy rain training over the same locations, and you can see here, we've actually, this is interesting. When I pop up the lightning, notice that there was some pretty clear air here, but the anvil off these storms creating a lot of lightning out ahead of this main supercell right here. So we were hearing a lot of thunder here in Rapides Parish ahead of that really heavy rain. Only 0.3 inches of rain for me so far at the house. And let me turn myself down. There we go. Okay. All right. So that's what we have going on. Now, I wanted to jump over. Let's see if I can manage this. I'm going to pop up a live stream.
Front of it.
There we go. I'm going to turn his audio down for right now. I cannot hear it. This is Brett Adair. He is Storm Chaser with Live Storms Media. He is right now in the Longville Singer area. He's watching this storm. So this is down right in, he's right into this area. I'm not exactly sure. It said in between Longville and Singer. So probably closer to Longville now. He is definitely seeing some pretty crazy rain and really nasty looking skies right now. But that's what we have going on down there. This is kind of just eyes on the storm, what he is seeing. Let's see. So the warning has now been increased, actually. Let me take the lightning off on this storm to increase the severe warning in Beauregard Parish to 70 miles per hour with ping-pong ball-sized hail. The core is increasing within the hail growth region. Radar is already reading up to 60 miles per hour. When that new core comes down, we could see the damaging winds increase beyond 60 miles per hour. So yes, Beauregard Parish, this storm right now, this is a look around the Longville area, and you can see a little outflow coming off this. I did see a little rotation in this storm earlier, but as of now, good news to see the outflow. Could be bad news for the damaging straight line wind, but the possibility that we could see some pretty strong straight line winds is going to be there. They said there was a nice shelf cloud on that storm as well. Yeah. Wind threat is, 60 to 65 coming into Longville. Dry Creek, you're next. Harmony, that area, that's where this storm is. And this is, again, a look in that storm in Beauregard Parish. I have the audio turned down just so we can take a look and see what they have going on. You can see how those clouds are just moving like crazy in there, too, though. A real turbulent activity there on the front side of this storm. Not seeing anything that would suggest a tornado on the ground or anything like that, but I always like to have eyes on the ground if possible, and Brett's in the area. When he's in the area, I can jump on and use his stream. Live Storms Media, got to give them a shout out. They are an awesome way to follow a bunch of storm chasers at once and kind of see what's going on. So if I take this feed away, you can go over there and check it out. And I am going to take this feed away right now, but I will jump back on if I see anything in the chat saying anything wild is going. But here's your radar right now. And that storm right there, you can see how it'll try to kind of hook out there, but that so far, thankfully, has not happened. Really looking like a nice surge of wind in with this one, though, as it heads from Elizabeth down through Longville and then eventually over toward Dry Creek as well. So that storm continues on toward the east. There has been just an endless stream of heavy rain out that way as well. I'll put this, I'll take this out of being in motion actually, and we'll take a look over at the accumulation rates here over the last hour, and you can see in that storm there 2+ inch per hour rates. If you didn't believe me, 2.3, 2.2 out toward these storms in southeast Texas, 2.7, 3.3, 2.2 inches per hour. So some incredible rainfall rates here, and we are going to see these training over the same locations. Now I see a tornado warning down there into that includes Houston. And, that's well out of our area, but let's see from the Lake Charles radar what we can see on that. nasty looking storm coming into Houston. So if you are down in that area, tornado warning. I don't, this is out of my area. I have not been too deep into the forecasting there. The rotation in the mid levels is there. I don't see anything jumping out at me, but I'm not in the low levels and I can't access the Houston radar on this system. So I will leave that to the Houston folk to watch that one. Up here we have flood warnings that have been issued pretty much from, College Station through Livingston, Jasper, Leesville, Oakdale, DeRidder. You're in this as well. And obviously we see the reason why here. Thunderstorms continuing to train across the same area. Up here in Alexandria, it's rumbling, but it has not been too bad just yet. And the hope is here that these storms kind of take away that instability and hopefully they continue to translate to the east and south so we get some motion to this and it doesn't just sit in the same area for 3 or 4 hours, because already, let's go ahead and take a look at storm estimates here. And that's not just for the last hour. Let's go for the last 6 hours. And again, it seems like a broken record over the last several systems here. This is the same area just getting absolutely plastered with this rainfall. And what we're seeing here, and that, let me see what that is. Whoops, sorry. So 2.8, 2.6 out into Texas. We're getting some, I saw Woodville already had a 4-inch report. But a lot of 2 to 4 inch rainfall totals here. And then when we clear this out and go back to your regular radar screen, you can see that some of those areas are where we are still seeing that very heavy rain. And what is this here? Oh, a destructive severe thunderstorm warning as well for Harris County, Texas. So if you are by chance, you have great options down in Houston. But if you are for some reason tuned into a guy who doesn't really forecast for Houston, go check out your local media right now or your favorite local weather personality and check this out, because that is a nasty storm that's going to move all the way across Houston. Including some of those northern suburbs and really just right across the heart of the city. Back close to home, there is your hail core that is ascending. Again, this is a strengthening hail core that is, let me zoom in. See where that's impacting. Just saw lightning on one of the cameras. I think that was Alexandria. Right now, moving toward Dry Creek, Longville. Let me see what Brett has on the stream right now. I'm going to keep his audio down again, but let's pull him up and see exactly where he is located. And he is, you know what, I'm going to pull his audio up for a second, see if he's actually talking. I can't hear it, so apologies if he says anything.
It's calming now. Woo! That worst of that core went to our east.
So that right there, again, I need to, that's one connection I'm going to need to make to figure out how I can hear that. You know what, no, I can't do that. But this is down near Longville. I'll have to see if I can get an update on where he is. Let me just fire off a text here. Just 1 second. And actually what I can do here, rather than bother him, he is, and looking at 618, he was on 171. I can see a spotter dot here. So he was on 171. It looks like he was just to the north of Longville. So he's right in the core of that storm. And if you're looking at Live Storms Media, you can always track their locations and see where they are. I'm just looking at my radar app here that shows me where storm spotters are, and he is on the edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. Looks like he's right behind that hail core, and I don't see hail hitting the ground, but you don't see much. There's not much visibility. But this, again, is if you're looking for a location here, he is on 171 in Beauregard Parish, and that would be right about in here. was his last location. So that's going to be 171 between Tulla and Longville. This storm now is actually, and I'll pull the stream down, or I'll pull his stream down so I can show you. This was the area he was in on 171 right there. So we were just watching some footage from right about here, and that storm he's clearly in the thick of it right now. Probably trying to figure out how to get east, and the road network there's not great. So hail and DeRidder, dime size, lasted about a minute. Okay. So yeah, it is. It's rocking and rolling down there. Oh, Travis driving to Houston now. We are at Livingston. My goodness, that is a rough trip. And this storm right here, we see a new warning now issued. And let me go ahead and take a look at the text on that. This is going to be they put different tags on these. This is a considerable damage threat for 70-mile-per-hour winds and ping-pong ball size hail, at least 1.5 inches in diameter. This includes northern Jeff Davis Parish, west central Evangeline, southeastern Beauregard Parish, and I think pretty much most of Allen, south of Oakdale. And this is until 7 p.m. At 6:18 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Dry Creek, moving east at 35. Wind gusts of 70 miles per hour and ping-pong ball-sized hail are possible out of this storm. Locations impacted are Welsh, Kinder, Oberlin, Elton, Fenton, Reeves, Dry Creek, Mitty, Ragley, Grant, Longville, Buller, Harmony, Topsy, Allen Parish Airport, Pine Island, LeBlanc, Bond, and Bundick Lake. A lot of those are places we have listed off before because these storms, again, are just kind of running over the same locations. There's also a flood warning for a lot of this severe thunderstorm warning, so big problems starting to develop. And again, we're just kind of getting started on this really wild heavy rainfall here. So let me go ahead and put this in motion. You can see up where we are, where I am here in Alexandria, things just pretty much light to moderate rain, getting some rumbles of thunder. Some of that heavier stuff trying to nose up this way, but the big show right now is down here with this storm in Beauregard Parish and also down into Allen Parish with this system that's heading on toward the east and kind of turning southeast. So as that kind of propagates further toward the right, toward the southeast, that could help to cut off the heavier rainfall totals up here across northern Rapides Parish. Now, there's more coming, but seeing that kind of surge to the south, the good news there is that's going to take some of the surface-based instability. It's going to knock some of that moisture to the south as well. Now, given this setup, we are going to see some redevelopment here. We're going to see more stuff developing back here. And when we look at the Shreveport radar, you can see that there's a lot of yellow to go here, a lot of moderate rainfall, but that heaviest stuff, if we can keep that kind of pushing more toward the right or south, that's great news because that's going to be, that means less residence time over the same location. So that's what we're going to hope for here. Of course, we don't want any of this rainfall, but if we can minimize the damage, so to speak, that would be just absolutely fantastic. And it looks like Brett's still on 171, so he's going to be behind this and probably having big problems trying to get ahead of it because of all that crazy rain and everything. I will pop his stream up for just a second here, see what his location is, what he's looking at. Maybe oh, there we go. It looks a little better, so he's behind the worst of it now. Looks like it's kind of locked up, so maybe internet issues. It's not the best place to have internet access. I am quite confident on that. But, okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring the radar back. That's what we're looking at there, heavy rain. Let me get back to the radar closer to home. And you can see that even though these storms are expanding down to the southeast, we are getting some of that heavier stuff that's moving on to the north. So the biggest severe threat is going to be ahead of this surging line right here in Beauregard Parish. That's right around Dry Creek right now. If you are in Dry Creek, you're seeing the edge of this right now. But right there, we could see some hail up to ping pong ball size around Kipling and Tulla, moving toward Dry Creek. Just the hail should be just north of Longville, but some big winds down that that way. And then as we go down the line a little bit further, anywhere from, let's say, the Walmart in Oakdale down through Oberlin and pretty much all the way down to I-10 is where this warning stretches. So pretty much from Rapidos all the way up to the Walmart in Oakdale, that's where this warning stretches. So a large warning here out in advance of this system as it continues to kind of turn to the right and produce some damaging wind and perhaps some hail, some wind-driven hail that could be up to ping pong ball size. Quarter size and bigger hail in DeRidder a few minutes ago. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why DeRidder's not popping up there. A frame of reference there. You can see we had the pink pop up over there. This is even more intense down here. So Dry Creek, if they were seeing quarters out of that, you should see that. And you should probably see that very shortly here in Dry Creek. And then down the line toward Grant, Harmony, Oberlin. This is going to cross between Oakdale and Oberlin. That's where the heavier rain and wind is going to be, as well as some hail as well. So please let me know what you're seeing. If you have hail, the reports really do help. And if you have any pictures of that hail with a location, that would be great as well. Thank you all for the stars. You're very sweet. I appreciate you. That hail core looks like around Kipling. It's pulsing back up there. Really not pulsing back up. It's just maintaining, I guess. And let's do that thing where I go in and slice the storm and take a look at it. Let's do it with a volume scan. And that way I can see if we're going to be heading toward increasing hail sizes or decreasing. And let's do that now. And if I'm not talking about your specific area right now, that is because this is where the biggest threat is. And if you're up in these further north areas, it looks like a lot of rain is going to fall, but the severe threat may be a little bit lower. And unfortunately, I'm too close to the radar, so I'm going to have to redo this and see if I can do it on the fly. I doubt it. Okay, cool, I can. So that's the Lake Charles radar. And it looks like that hail core is actually still suspended up there above Dry Creek. So we still have that up around, 18 to 20,000 feet. That's where ice is very readily available in these storms. And that updraft is suspending that hail right there. So if you are in Dry Creek right now, that hail core continues to look pretty robust. And it looks like you could see up to ping pong ball sized hail. Now, I'll take it back to something that looks a little more normal and friendly because I'm not here to confuse you, but I do occasionally like to see that stuff just so I can kind of see what's going on a little higher up in the storm and tell you all about it. So lightning, lots of it. Even out where maybe you're just seeing some light rain, we're seeing that lightning in the anvil from these big storms, and that's going to continue to be the case. The good news I see is that this storm is not just, what we don't want to see is this thing to be moving like this, like into this area, because that means we're just training. So if we see that turning more to the right, it's going to at least give you a little break in between things. Let me clear things up here and go back and show you where the worst of this storm is now. That is near Dry Creek, over Dry Creek. That's where that hail core is right now. I'm going to pop up Lake Charles, see if that's any different. Pretty similar stuff there. But we are close into the radar side here. And let's take a look at that hail swath. And I'll put this in motion. You can kind of see where you can see how that increased. You can also see that right turn there. Earlier had some hail there north of Washington near LeBeau. This storm really picking up now, and that hail you can see increasing as this storm heads toward Dry Creek. Now, we did see, I had that report up there of some hail up to quarter size in DeRidder. So it's possible we're seeing larger than that, and we're seeing hail larger than that down south. We got a new flood warning. All right, Brett said at 622, wind gusting over 70 estimated. That was 3 miles north of Longville. He's looking for damage. The pine debris was airborne and pines were bent over pretty good. Now there's also a new flood warning, so let's go back to the regular radar. Pause it so we're not quite as cuckoo here. But there is wait, that's the tornado watch. All right, I'll just read it to you. Flood warning, flash flood warning remains in effect until 10:15 p.m. for northeastern Allen, northern Beauregard, and Vernon Parish, as well as northeastern Newton County, Texas. Between 1 and 3 inches of rain have fallen across the warned area, and the rainfall rate is at 1 to 2 inches per hour. Additional rainfall of 2 to 4 inches possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing, or it's going to start very, very soon. And that includes DeRidder, Oakdale, Leesville, Oberlin, Rosepine, Maryville, Anacoco, Elizabeth, Fort Johnson, Sugartown, Pitkin, Slagle, Dry Creek, Mitty, Singer, Grant, Nulano, Hornbeck, Cravens, and Fullerton. And this is a considerable threat. They have upgraded that to a considerable threat on that warning. There could be a brief lowering in the rates, and then there's more on the way behind that. So let's take a look and see on Brett's stream, see if the internet's a little better for that. Looks like he is now turning on to, I don't know if that was 10 or, I think that was 10, not 10, 190. There we go, that makes more sense, Nick. All right, so I am going to check out his spotter dot, see where he's traveling. And yeah, he is now turning on to 190. I'm assuming he is going to be heading toward the east, trying to get out ahead of this and intercept this storm again. So looks like he's found some clearer air as he drops south, and that's the storm again. In southern Beauregard Parish, said he saw winds up at least 70 miles per hour around Longville, going to head to the east and probably, I'm guessing, try to come up 165 and catch this again. So I'll be watching that stream, and we'll pull that up if I see him grabbing onto anything. Other than that, we have our ongoing flood warning. We have 2 big waves of thunderstorms here, and then further out to the west, we have this one down near Houston. I'll put everything into motion if you are just now tuning in, show you what's going on. Let's see. Hail in West BR. Yep, that makes sense with that storm as well. Grant Parish for tonight. Anywhere north of Alexandria, I really think this is going to be a steady, heavy rainfall. I don't think it's going to be bad for the agricultural folks, but I don't foresee the worst of this. You know, let's just say the worst, I think, is roughly going to be south of this line. It's just a line I drew, but it's pretty close to and we're seeing that. You can see these reds and everything. They're staying pretty much south of that line. Now the reds up here, those are more stratiform, like moderate to heavy rain. This is where you're getting maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch an hour. Down here's where we're getting 1, 2, maybe 3 inches per hour. Again, this part of the storm system is turning to the right here, so that's going to be heading down, crossing 165. I would not be anywhere near 165 in Allen Parish right now. I'm not saying that if you're in your home, you're in crazy danger or anything like that. I'm saying driving is not going to be a fun thing there. So south of this line, that's where we have the severe threat. That's where we have the flooding threat, at least the highest of those. And north of this line, that's where things are going to be more like a very, very rainy night, as I like to call them, an Eddie Rabbit night, because you love a rainy night, right? Let's clear this off and take a look at this storm. That we are seeing a little bit of an expansion northward on this. You can see those elements, those heavier elements now working into western Rapides Parish. Possibly some small hail, but I think the worst of this storm is going to be down here to the south, crossing from Beauregard into Allen Parish right now. Now let me, I haven't looked at velocity here in a minute. You got the base velocity and the storm relative. Storm relative is like if you're riding along with the storm, what the winds are doing. Gives you a good idea, it kind of takes some of the noise out of things. Now, I see little pockets of rotation involved, but nothing that is intense, nothing that I'm seeing that's saying to me like, hey, we should put a tornado warning on this or anything. Same goes for Lake Charles, different orientation, so the colors are going to change there. But that is your severe storm that is headed down into Allen Parish now. Eastern Beauregard getting absolutely slammed. Southeastern Vernon Parish as well. This is probably going to impact most of Rapides, maybe just south of Alexandria. It looks like it'll stay south of Boyce. It's going to be close here in Alexandria. But some heavy rainfall and perhaps some damaging wind out of this as this storm system moves into Allen Parish. Strong wind feature over Dry Creek. Oh, it says losing steam. There we go. It doesn't look as impressive as far as reflectivity goes. We'll allow the warning to continue before downgrading. Now, the warning, when they say downgrading, they could be taking it down. Again, there are different levels of these warnings, so it's possible that could happen to where we're not going to see this at quite as high of a level. But yeah, Brett is heading east on 190, and he's going to try to get out ahead of this storm system. So we'll stick with it for a little bit and see what he finds. But that looks like a pretty nasty line, although it doesn't look quite as bad as it did just a few minutes ago. I can't give anyone, I see the questions for the different areas and stuff. I'm not going to give anyone an all clear because after this clears out, we still have the whole upper system to the west. Again, let me go out to the big picture here. This is just the radar at Fort Johnson, and really models have picked up on all this very well. But when I go to my national radar, what we see is we got the upper level system here. There's still some strong to severe storms out in West Texas. So later on tonight, after some of you go to bed, we are going to see this thing move through, but we're going to see new storms develop out here and move overhead. Now, I think we get a little bit of a break tomorrow morning. I think probably from like 4 a.m. to maybe noon is when things are going to be at their calmest. And then tomorrow afternoon, we get another round of storms. Now, that's not going to impact the entire area. I think that's going to be, generally south and east of a line from DeRidder to Alexandria to Faraday, something like that, roughly. So when we look at what we have here going on, you can see there's just a different look. We have the moderate rain up here, the real heavy stuff that's training along the same locations here in southeast Texas and then into southern and central Louisiana, just to the south of us here in Alexandria. When I say us, I mean me. And some of you, of course. But there you can see where these heavier storms are going to line up, and we're just going to see just repeated heavy rainfall. Now, it helps that this one is turned a little bit to the right, but at the best case scenario then for you is that you're going to see the moderate rain behind this. So let's go back to the more local radars, and yeah, you can see this is trying to creep back up into northern Rapides Parish, where we've only seen 1/3 of an inch of rain in my house, 0.33 exactly. But there are some severe storms ranging from Baton Rouge back through Allen Parish there, Oakdale, just to your south again, from south of Oakdale, south side of Oakdale through all the way down to I-10. That's where on 165. That's where the strongest stuff is locally right now. This storm out west does not have a warning on it, but it's creating some flooding problems, and this is all just going to keep on moving over. It's just going to keep on rolling through the area. Bunky, I think you're about to get pretty slammed with multiple rounds of pretty heavy stuff. Again, I drew this earlier. I'll do this again, as I know people don't watch, the whole constant thing. I wouldn't watch it well, no, I'm lying. I would. I just do that. But this area here, that's your highest threat zone for the flooding rainfall, and you can see these reds. That's where they're going to be kind of tracking through. So if you're in that area, I think you have a bit higher chance, a much higher chance to see the flooding rains and the severe weather. But later on this evening, things are going to change once again, and I'll be watching all of this as it kind of bears out across the area. Let me take a look here at the velocities again, and just a big surge of rain and wind heading right for 165, and this is now crossing toward Elizabeth down to Reeves. It's charging down 190 toward 165. So if you're in Allen Parish, you are in this severe thunderstorm warning, and you should just, it's a severe thunderstorm warning. It's not a tornado warning. It is. It looks like we are getting a bit of a bow on that, though. You can kind of. It's. Well, let's see. Let me see if I see it better on Lake Charles. I can see it on a different radar app I'm looking at, but it's. You can kind of see here a little bit of a bow features trying to form. Right in the backside there, right there. So if you are in Allen Parish, that wind is really going to be picking up here shortly. They have continued the severe thunderstorm warning. Just checking on locations. Let's see where we're at. 638. He's coming into Reeves, trying to get ahead of this storm, and it's giving him heck. Let's take a peek at Brett's stream, and then I'm going to probably pop away for a little bit and keep an eye on that, and I'll pop live if I see anything worth talking about, which I think there's plenty to talk about. Yeah, he's coming right into Reeves, and that storm's kind of catching him once again. So, let's see. All right, that's what he's seeing right now. If you'd like to keep an eye on that, you can go over to Live Storms Media. In fact, what I'll do is drop a link for you, and you can go in there and you can find Brett's stream. And let me see if I can't just pull it to where it's going directly to the chase page. Yeah. And then just pick Brett Adair, and you can see his location. There's a couple guys chasing out in Texas as well. But I'll put this in the comments, and if you are wanting to keep up with that, go ahead and watch that until I come on live again. Then you have to come back over here. You have to promise me. Okay, well, that's about it for right now. Strong wind potential here. Doesn't look as bad on the hail right now. Flood warnings remain in effect in these storms out to the east toward Baton Rouge, getting pretty nasty. Again, if you know someone around Houston, let them know that's a pretty nasty looking storm heading in that way. In fact, let me do one thing real quick here and look at the Houston radar, because again, I have 3 radar sites I can look at, and I do not put Houston's. Wow, big wind up there, basically in the northeast loop around Houston, around the 610 loop. There are some really intense winds and the potential for a tornado with this storm. I mean, and I'm talking about Houston right now. But we're seeing close to the radar site. I mean, not right next to it, but I'm seeing just not far up, about 100-mile-per-hour wind, about 1,400 feet up. So that's going to be doing some big damage, probably on that northeast side of Houston, with the potential for a tornado. So that's what I'm talking about there. You see all that flashing craziness. We have our own issues locally here, forming a little bit of a squall line from Rapides down into southeastern Beauregard Parish. That severe thunderstorm warning is going to continue until 7 o'clock. And then we have another cluster moving out from the west, and plenty more rain to come after that. I'm going to go back and do some nowcasting, look at the radar, look at the updated models and all that good stuff, and I'll get back with you. Travel from Alexandria to Houston early morning. I think early morning you might get that, and you might be okay. That's when we're kind of in that break. So you might just make it. But I am going to step out for a bit. I will come back on here in just a little especially if we see any more warnings or anything like that. No real schedule here. Just going to pop on when I see things that are looking rough out there. Okay, I'll see you in a bit.